Hi everyone, this is Heather from weddingsbyheather.com, where my goal is to equip you with the best techniques and tips to become a better and more efficient photographer. In this Q&A video, I'm going to demonstrate creating fake bokeh inside of Photoshop. But first, make sure you check out my free workflow video series available only on my website. I received a question last week from my friend Kathy. She said, "Hi Heather, quick Lightroom question. Is it possible to blur a background? I have an image of an old 56 Ford truck, but the background is awful. Or is this something that I need to do inside of Photoshop?" So I addressed this in a previous video, which you can see here, on how to accomplish this in Lightroom. But I also wanted to show you what it would look like inside of Photoshop. So in order to achieve this fake bokeh or blurry background effect, the first thing I'm going to do is duplicate my background layer by pressing Command J, that's Control J, on the PC. I'm going to go to the Filter menu and choose Blur, Lens Blur. Previously, I would have chosen Gaussian blur for this, but lens blur just gives you a few more options. I'm going to increase the radius of this blur and make sure that this is set to none. I have more accurate checked. I'm going to bring down my blade curvature and my rotation, and that's basically because I'm not sure what lens this was shot with. So those are sort of unknowns for me, so you could just bring those down and they're not going to impact it greatly anyway. So then you just want to adjust your radius to your liking, and you'll have to give that a second to generate. Obviously, in a moment, we're going to need to mask the truck so that it is not blurry, just the background is, but that looks pretty good. So go ahead and say OK to that. And then let's add a layer mask to layer 1 by clicking the Add Layer Mask button. And then let's fill it with black in order to conceal all of those instructions that we just dialed in with that layer. I'm going to accomplish this by pressing Command Delete on my keyboard. That is Control Backspace on the PC, and the reason that works is because my background color, my swatch, is set to black, so it fills it with the background color. Then I'm going to make sure that I have my brush, that's B on my keyboard. I'm going to make it larger by pressing my right bracket key. I'm going to make sure it has the softest edge possible, and that is Shift left bracket. I'm also going to make sure that white is my foreground color so that I can paint this blur in just where I'd like it, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. And if you catch a little bit of the truck, which I did here, you can press X on your keyboard to flip those swatches and mask that out by painting with black. Remember, when using layer masks, white reveals, black conceals. And then what I can do is look at the overall before and after. And it did a much better job, I think, than Lightroom did, my personal opinion. Of course, yours may vary, but I would also take this further and maybe burn in the edges a little bit just to, I don't know, kind of minimize that background. Ultimately, as I mentioned in my previous video, I think the best thing for this image would either be to reshoot it with a better background, or if that's not possible, I might attempt to remove the truck from this background and place it on something that's a little bit more appealing. I hope that you found this useful. I'll see you in the next video.